I watched Tony Ferguson's recent interview, and he talked about wanting 5 fights and a title fight. How he's coming into his prime at age 38, and he's never been better. I'm a diehard Tony Ferguson fan. You can see by my phone's wallpaper, and I want to see him succeed. And I miss those days of his legendary win streaks. But when I say this, that I think he's kind of done at this point, people get really upset. I got a lot of hate from some of my older Tony Ferguson videos because I said I thought that him versus Bobby Green was kind of a bad idea. Bobby Green had a competitive fight with Drew Dober. You know who took over Drew Dober? Matt Frivola. You know who's going to take over Matt Frivola? Rafael Fiziev. So even if he's able to get past Bobby Green, who steamrolled Jared Gordon, and who would, for without a doubt in my mind, steamroll Paddy Pimblett, Tony Ferguson, he's walking into a nightmare matchup of a precision boxer where his chin just is not the way it used to be. He's past his prime. I hate to say it. I say this as a fan of his. And I want to believe in Tony Ferguson. I really do. I really hope I'm wrong. I hope he gets his hand raised. I want to hear that again. We heard it the first 12 times, and he came back against Michael Chandler. So I don't want to say never. I thought he was going to get smoked but in the first round, but did really good and turned back the clock against Michael Chandler. But then you watch that Nate Diaz fight, and he's just never the same. Are we going to get the same thing? Are we going to get something similar? What are we going to get? I don't know. Even if he finishes Bobby Green in the first round, I gotta say it's so hard to think he's going to be able to get past the upper echelons of the division. Excuse me for my poor pronunciation, but Justin Gaethje really changed him. Rafael Fiziev, who just had a really close fight with Justin Gaethje, right, would give him some problems. I think Arman Sarukian would give him problems. I think Grant Dawson would give him issues. Matt Frivola would definitely give him issues. I think Matt Frivola is honestly future champ material, and I see a lot of that. I get that Tony doesn't want to give up the title because when his heyday was here and he was at his prime, he never got a fair title shot. So I could see where his psychology is right now. He wants to get a belt that the UFC has wrongfully taken from him, but Father Time goes undefeated, man. And I'm so sorry that the UFC never gave him a belt. But let me be honest about my opinion of the UFC belts is they've made it a marketability thing, where like even look at Michael Bisping's run with the title. He fought a guy who was past his prime in a rematch for marketability purposes, and then George St. Pierre, who was smaller than him, and then choked him out. How are we supposed to look at that? It's like the marketability of the belt. Conor McGregor held on to 2 belts without defending them for nearly 500 days. Well, at least the lightweight. They took the featherweight title way earlier. But the marketability behind this championship belt and the amount, not just Tony, but the amount of fighters who have been robbed of their fair shot, unbelievable. And I think that also devalues the belt to the point where I tell Tony, you don't have to fight for that belt, dude. You've created and cemented a legacy beyond any other. I know I'm talking like the it's all written and set in stone, and he's gonna lose to Bobby. In fact, I don't know where this fight's gonna go. He might turn back the clock. He might surprise us. I hope he does. But I just don't see a title fight as worth what he's got. Because building wrestling equipment like said he wants to, having a wife and kids and everything like that, I think it's just time that he thinks about his life outside of the cage and starts to put it up. Because even if he loses, we're going to be cheering his name because of the fights he's given us and the amount of times he's putting himself on the line for us. He has fought his ass off in that octagon. In the UFC, and Dana White never gave him anything despite being super marketable. And he's won the public's positive opinion. But only time will tell. I just, when I hear those kinds of things that seem very far fetched in his talk, I just don't know if he's really being honest with himself, or I'm just not being honest with myself. Because part of me does want to believe that he's going to come back. Believe me, I know I got a lot of hate from one of my previous El Kukui takes, but I'm willing to accept reality that my hero is, you know, getting older. And if you hate me for saying this, too bad.